Okay. Hello and welcome. It's another live stream from Data+Train and I'm Neil Hambly. Welcome if this is your first time. We're glad you could join us, and please subscribe and give us a thumbs up if you like the content. If you want to be notified when new live videos go out or new videos are uploaded, hit that notification bell. So what are we covering in today's live stream? Well, earlier today I was taking one of those exams from my home, kind of remote proctored, for the DP-900, which is the Azure Data Fundamentals. So this is a entry-level certification. It's one I'm going to be teaching, so I kind of wanted to just get that one kind of in the bag, kind of out the way. Sat down, no real prep for me on my end, but that's not understandable because essentially it's something I teach, so I should expect to get a pretty good score. I got, I think, one question wrong, so I probably wasn't paying attention and just kind of click going through. So maybe a bit of impatience, maybe a bit of kind of like not kind of paying too much attention, but I nearly got a perfect score, but not quite. So I was a little bit like, need to do better next time. I've got another fundamentals on Friday to do, so the AI fundamentals, which is the AI 900. So I'll let you know how I get on with that one as well. So let's have a look at what we're going to cover in today's session. So you may be familiar with, let me kind of bring it up full screen so you can see it, and let's cut it over there. And I'll just zoom in just a little, wrong one, come in this window and zoom in just a hair there. So you're probably familiar, if you've come to this live stream before, that we're covering a number of sessions in the 4-month period, essentially. So we kind of got the DA-100 exam, and we've looked at the 5 functional groups in that, and we spread that into 4 different months worth of focus. Starting with August, we prepare the data, model the data in September, visualize the data in October, and then finally we've got analyze the data and maintain and deploy deliverables in November, because they're pretty much 10 to 15% category each, those last 2. So combined, it's about 25% roughly across each one of those. We've already got started with some sessions, and I've got some lessons episodes which I'm building the videos for. So there's 13 videos per calendar month. So a total of 4 months, 13 videos, 52 videos we're going to be doing across the series. They'll be fairly short. They kind of go through some of the content, not to probably the same level of detail that we do in the 4-day course. So I'm going to be running a 4-day DA-100 public virtual course. So kind of 9 to 4:30 daily, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 19th to the 22nd October. So if you're interested, we have an amazing price for that as well. So normally it's about just under £2,500 for most mainstream providers to go on that course. Like most Microsoft courses, they're not that cheap to go on. We will go through and reduce that considerably. So our pricing for the 4-day course would normally be $12.95, roughly about half of the mainstream providers out there. We've done a special kind of for the August and October release. So we're doing a $8.95 price. But we have 10 tickets now remaining just for the October. So the August one's kind of been closed. The October one's still open, and there's 10 tickets remaining, 10 seats in the 15 seats delivery. And we're giving a 50% discount off that $8.95 price. So it's down to £447.50. And I will kind of just go and quickly show you. There is a code that we're going to use. Let's go actually quick look at, let's go on there, put that up. Hi there. Hi Craig, how you doing? Let me just do that. Do I have my social up? Let me kind of have my social. One sec. Gonna bring out my social as well, and let me just go and click on the button. And click on that and just send that, and so you can kind of see if you want to say hello, everything. Yes, I'm doing very well, thank you. Okay, let's kind of go back to where I was. I was going to show you where that ticket. Now the description below has all the links, by the way, of what we're going to be showing. My cursor's there it is. It's been eluding me today a little bit. So I'm just going to go to the price. Now I do have a new website that we're also going to. Oh, wrong one. Let's go to this one here. So this is in the link below. You can go into here and you'll see the dates are the 19th to the 22nd of October. Four full days content. So what we're doing in the videos over the next 4 months won't go to as much detail as we do in those 4 days. Naturally, it's just a time thing. We're kind of 4 8-hour days or 6.5 7 hour training days. It's a lot of training. You're not going to cover all of that in the same videos. And there's a reason also we can't actually take all the content in the course and just put it into YouTube. We're not allowed to do that for obvious reasons. There's reasons why these courses exist, but we can kind of give you some level of kind of introduction to those topics, kind of cover some of the content, so get you started on that self-study journey for you. But if you go to the ticket and just kind of put in, say there's one ticket there, click next. And if I put the promo code of train, so make it nice and easy for you, and you'll see that reduces the price down to an amazing £447.50. That's literally £2,000 less per student than the mainstream providers. And most likely, at some point, I know I'm going to be delivering some of these courses for those mainstream providers. So I will be an instructor delivering those. Okay. So if you're interested, once those 10 have gone, though, they are gone, and we won't be doing any more of the DA-100 this year. So that's the last of the courses this year. We will be doing some one-day certification, DP-900, AZ-900, AI-900, those kind of fundamental ones. I will be doing a one-day course on those, and I'll let you know when those are available and if you want to join those. And those will be a very modest price for coming in to join that. Okay. So I think I've got a DP-900 next week with 130 students. Quite a lot. Okay, let's go look at the exam that I just did earlier today. If you want to learn more about that exam, we can go into the main certification track. Let me just go and grab that quickly, and then we're going to go and do some Power BI stuff as well. So the DP-900, you can go into here and come down and find the kind of skills being measured. So we kind of get a bit further down into the world depth. There we go. And essentially, it's all about describing the types of services we have in Azure, the relational databases, the non-relational ones, the kind of NoSQL, the analytics workloads. So we've got things like the Databricks and the Synapse Analytics worlds, and some core data concepts as well. So don't expect the kind of really difficult questions. As I say, I kind of, it's probably just under 50 questions today, and, probably 30 minutes of my time, but I'm an instructor on this, so kind of I should be able to go through quite quickly on that content there. Okay, so make sure there's no other questions. Cool. So come and have a look, kind of see what there. If you want to go and look at the details a little bit more, you can go in there. Now, I do know there's a very well-known instructor on Udemy, and I was going to show you his stuff in a minute. If you want to get a bit of preparation and you're not overly familiar with this, and you don't want to wait for me to kind of cover this in September, so I'm going to do a week-long 5 or 7, I can't remember if it's going to be 5 or 7 videos. I think probably 5 videos that we're going to be doing, describing going each of the sections. So if I go back, actually, just go one level. Sorry, there's 4 sections. Each one's going to have a video. So my apologies there. 4 videos in a week. We're basically doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and basically kind of a final thing on Friday, maybe just to tail it out, etc. So there'll be 4 videos in that week in September sometime, probably mid-September. I'll get those out and you'll be able to kind of, so we go through core data concepts, relational database, non-relational, etc. But you can go down to the Microsoft Learn resources and go through each of these learning paths. So each of these learning paths will give you some content. I've had a look at it. They look fairly good. I've had a quick run through them. They're a couple of hours each. So you should be able to, in a kind of pretty much a day, either come to a instructor-led course or work your way through the learning path and get through to the content. And then, it's a lot cheaper as well. The exam, I think it's, was it £65? Let me go have a look at, one sec, go back. There we go. So for the UK, obviously in a different country, it will be £69 for the UK, equivalent, just look at the price in there, etc. But that's kind of a recommended, a good entry point. If you want to see kind of where that sits, come to the Journey Certification. and you'll see how that kind of lays out in terms of, is this a good certification for you? And if so, what are the skills and how do you measure those? And then kind of what the certification is, the Azure Data Fundamentals cert that you're going to get at the end of that. Okay, so some great material there in Microsoft Learn, and I'll cover some more content in the September. If you want to go to Udemy, and you've got a gentleman here, kind of that Scott, who's kind of very well known and has some awesome kind of requirements. So kind of have a look at what he's doing. There is also, I think, an offer right now running for a couple of days. So, you know, for a tenner, you can come in and you can get kind of his specific course is about 2.5 hours long, if I remember. Somewhere in here it says the time. There we are, 2 hours 26. But he's got some very good stuff in there. So it might be worth checking out for a tenner. Might be worth a good kind of prep to see if you're kind of ready for that exam. So let's look at what we're going to cover in the DA-100 though. So I've kind of started with a bit more content. Let me go and zoom in a little bit further. So we started before we prepare the data. I'm working my way through some stuff now, and I'm getting some stuff ready for model the data. And down here, I'm starting to put together some links for optimizing the model, how that also is kind of, you know, dependent on the performance you're going to get as an end user, is how the model is defined, what relationships you have, how much data is loaded, etc. So we're putting together videos that are going to cover this kind of relationship stuff. We did a couple of stuff bits earlier in the year, earlier in the month rather, for that. And I think I might have a Power BI one up. I'm just going to grab it, see if it's there. Power BI. I have lots and lots of Power BI reports here. Let me go grab one of my AdventureWorks one. There we go. Okay, just wait for that to load. Here we go. Should have some music playing in the background for these little pieces of space, but we don't right now. I'll get that sorted. Okay, so let's go look at the model. So you notice that we don't really have anything in the model. We kind of have one introduction page, nothing really in there, because we're looking at the internals. We're looking at the DAX expressions, but mainly I kind of brought this one up because I've got this, and I wanted to showcase that. The moment this table is kind of AdventureWorks kind of copy. You can see kind of similar tables in here for reseller, customers, etc. But look at the relationship in terms of the arrows. Move that out a bit and just do that again. 1 sec. There we go. And look at the direction of the arrows from the one side, which is the dimension, through to the multiple side. And in this case, this is the only one that has one-to-one on both sides. So for a sales order, there's a one-to-one relationship with that and the sales, etc. But the sales item itself, for reseller, customer, sales territory, is there be a dimensional table with a fact table that's going to have multiple rows for that potentially. So all the arrows also are being arranged so they're pointing downwards. So you can see here, apologies for the beeping. I've got somebody on Teams kind of going a bit mental on alerts, and I thought I turned it off, but I can't turn it off right now. So one to many with the many on the facts side. So here's the star symbol, and that means that we have multiple on there. So we kind of look at highlight one of these, for example. Okay, I'm going to see if I can just kind of get rid of that message 1 sec, because that's going to be really, really annoying. And that's kind of going to turn that off. I can. So task manager, just going to try and put the sound into off mode. There we go. Hopefully that's going to solve that problem. So apologies. Okay, and let me put the volume up a little bit more as well here this end. Okay, there we go. So okay, that looks like it's still beeping on somewhere, even though I've turned the sound off completely. So we're going to look at relationships. So we'll just pick one of these items here. You can see it's highlighted the yellow, and you can also see that there's like a bar going right through that, which means we've hidden that column. So we got that kind of slash through the viewables kind of icon, the eye symbol. What it means obviously is we've got a column there that's related, but we can't see that column in there in the model. It's in the model, but we can't see it in the model because we've kind of turned off the visibility of that. Now we go into the table, we will see that. Let's go and have a quick look. Okay, so I'm just going to actually just turn off that machine 1 second. Okay, so I'm just shutting down the other machine because it was just beeping constantly for me, which is really annoying. So we're getting this customer key. If I go into the table structure and look at the customer table, notice it's kind of grayed out somewhat. Now we can see this in the desktop, so we can see that kind of we have that that grayed out entry in the desktop there, and the rest of them are not grayed out, so kind of they're not dimmed. When it's dimmed, it obviously means it's hidden. But when we upload that to the service, because we've said it's hidden, they don't see it in the service. So remember, this is probably the desktop was seeing stuff. Upload to the service, it kind of becomes invisible. Again, I've got, so I don't know where the sound's coming from because I've turned that machine off. So that's going to be annoying. Apologies. Just beeping non-stop at this end. So we can see that we have that relationship, and we can go to manage relationships and we can see the relationships there. Now this is going to be very critical that you understand the granularity that you're doing this data at, and also what relationships, and whether it's a one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many, what type of relationship do we have causing that problem, okay? Or not causing the problem, but causing the performance to be certain. And then we filter in single direction or both directions, so up and down the stack, up to the dimension and down into the fact. But mostly we'll probably do many to one, which is, or one to many, which is we're filtering on the facts, the dimension side, and we're filtering the rows into the fact table. So we look into some of here, click on one of those, click on edit, and we can see that we have a one-to-many relationship being kind of thrown up here. So the cardinality, managed to write all over it, the cardinality here and the cross-filter direction are very important from a performance standpoint. So when we get into the modeling in September, we're going to spend a great deal of time kind of going through how to design your models. Okay, now there is also some other resources I'm going to make available. I won't share that until we get to begin September, but essentially there's other courses and other resources we're going to share that can help you with the modeling phase, how to approach it, how to understand what your granularity is, how to plan up what your model looks like, and then also to test it with tools like, you know, the DAX analyzer, etc. So we can use the performance characteristics inside of the Power BI desktop and some of these external tools to really help us. And then we go into our homepage, you'll see there's a new kind of a new entry right at the top called external tools. I'm just going to click on that. Oops, I cancel on this dialog first. Close that one, and then we can click on the tools, and you'll see that we have, or I've kind of set up the DAX Studio, the ALM toolkit, and the tablet editor. Can't even say the words tonight. Those will help us understand the model, build out the performance characteristics, understand the relationships, what measures do we have, what other characteristics are we doing around filtering, etc. So we can go and see how the model is defined, and also perform a bunch of tests about how fast or slow some of the visuals are doing and some of the DAX expressions are running. Okay, so when we get into the September, we'll go through more contents around kind of how to measure performance, how to ensure it's a good performance. Because ultimately, Dave, if you put a report out that doesn't perform, people just not are going to use it maybe once or twice and then just not come back to it. If you click, and it's nice and fast, that's what they're going to want. They want kind of instant response. That's what we're looking for. So we want to make sure that our modeling is right. Then also when we do the model right, the visualization becomes easier because we understand the performance. We kind of know what the right values are. We can do some validation checks to make sure that the model we defined and put together with all the relationships gives us the right results as well, gives us the right formatting. Now, if we got like currencies, we need to make sure that those are in the right denominacy for that currency. Is it dollars, UK pounds, euros, whatever it's going to be, etc. So we got a few items around that we're going to cover in the kind of different months there. So let's get rid of that for a second. No, I don't want to save it. So we'll click into some of these kind of items here, and then let me get off the movement there. So we're going to come into the optimized model, and this is where we can learn the DAX expression language that we're going to need to build in order to create those calculations. So first, when we bring data in, we're using the mashup language. We're using the M query language to build, load data, transform it, get it into the model. Then we're going to potentially do additional calculations on top of that. And we're going to use the DAX expression language to make sure that we're doing it efficiently in terms of the performance, the relationships, the visuals. Do we have multiple relationships on the same column? So we may have an active and some inactive relationships. We might need to do some DAX measures in order to leverage maybe some additional date tables in terms of the columns that we're using. So ship date, due date, order date, these kind of things. We'll show you some examples, go through the different strategies that you can use. There's always more than one way probably to do something. So we'll make sure we got the most efficient approach and how and when to use different kind of analysis expression languages kind of to do what we need to do. So it's going to come back to there. But again, if we come down, you'll see that there's a whole bunch of things like using variables to improve performance. We can kind of make it a bit easier to read, also to help with the performance, so we're kind of not having to get the engine to do as much work in the background. And that's fine when you've got a few hundred rows, a few thousand rows. When you start to go in tens of millions, hundreds of millions of rows, potentially, you may have some issues around the performance of those. So we need to work out where we've got a scalable performance as well. Doing things like, let's do a DAX expression where we do a calculation on what the calculation is for last year versus this year. So what's the same period, same time frame? Do those time dependent type calculations, which are very common in some of our Power BI reports. How do we do that efficiently? So we're going to be looking at things like parallel period and just kind of making sure we got the right approach and making sure that it's going to be nice and performant there. So let's go. So we're going to be covering some of that. Let's go back to the entry here. So if we look at kind of what we end up being, we end up kind of with a combination of our relationships, the additional measures and additional kind of calculations we're doing. That's all inside of our kind of a report here. And ultimately the end user experience and things like bookmarks and filters and slice and dicing needs to be at least at a good performance level, if not really good. So kind of people are not thinking, click that and then walk away and come back, which we used to do kind of back in the day. We used to click a report, go off and do something else, come back and wait for to see if it's rendered. Now we want to basically click and get an instant response. We're used to that kind of instant response time, real-time type reporting. So we're going to also look at things like batch loading data in, real-time loading the data, different data stores in Azure. And that's also where the DP-900 comes in a little bit, is that where do I put my data? What type of data do I have? Is it streaming data, batching data? Is it kind of OLTP? Is it going to be NoSQL? Is it JSON files, CSVs? You name it, we're going to kind of cover a bunch of that in the videos that we have. So I've been doing some recordings today. They're going pretty well. I'm still learning my craft essentially with this Power BI, with this YouTubing, and it's great to kind of utilize Power BI as one of the kind of the first topics I'm covering. But we will cover data science, databases. So, being a data professional, that's kind of where I came up from, business intelligence reporting, kind of SQL Server. But I do also things like AI and data science now for Microsoft as well in terms of workshops. So I'll be covering those exams, those kind of tools and techniques that we want to do over the following months. We're going to have a bunch more of those. So to make sure there's no more questions out there. Cool. So if you are new and you want to kind of say hello, put that up there. We will kind of have a chat. If you have questions, feel free to put those into the chat window as well. We get the odd question here. If not, if you're coming as a recording, put them in the comments because I see those and I will respond back as well. So that's going to be it for today. We're going to thank you for your time. It's been awesome to live stream for the 19th time in August, for my 19th consecutive live stream. Not sure I'm going to get any better though, but we'll kind of see how we get better over the following months. I'm sure we'll get better. At the end of August, we would have done every single day in August live. And then in September onwards, we're going to probably I'm going to do at least one, maybe 2 live streams a week, as well as a bunch of videos out there and kind of getting some content out in front of you all. But it's been a pleasure to be live on YouTube again. And I will see you, as I say, in the next video. Remember to subscribe, hit that notification bell, give us a thumbs up. We love the thumbs up. It really helps our channel. It does indeed, really does. More than you probably think so. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. Stay safe.